Hey, family. Hey, family. Look at this. We've got a huge celebration going on. I say we, while I sit here alone, and the rest, the rest of my team is kind of all over the place. I am in beautiful, brisk Los Angeles. I'm in California, and having the most amazing time here. And I just came up into my apartment here to celebrate with you guys this incredible feat that we're all having. If you're not aware, we are just about to hit 1 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. This is like a big deal for us. It's a really big deal for us. You know, like I hate making big deals out of things, but this is a big deal. And I'll tell you why this in particular is a big deal. It's because of all of the platforms that we've had and all of the communities that we've built over the years. This is probably the one that's been the it's been the hardest, I think, to get over the million mark. Um, and I'm not quite sure why that is. If you ask any of my team members, they'll tell you that it's because what did Vanessa say? You're not leaning in. You've got to lean in. They tell me like you've just got to lean into the stuff that you're doing. And they're probably right too. So let's see, where are we? There we are, 900. Ooh, oh, that is so tight, so tight. So tight. That's so tight. We need another 60 people there or thereabout to subscribe to the channel, and then we're going to hit the incredible 1 million mark, and it's going to be amazing. I must tell you that whilst I've been here, it's been such a cool time. I wanted to do Mike's Hood tours, and the last time I was here, which I want to say, when I say here, I mean specifically in Cali, I want to say was about a year ago, probably about a year ago. I did this amazing tour called Mike's Tours, right? And Mike does these hood tours, and he takes you to the hood, and he takes you to all these iconic sites. So you get to see, for instance, where Kendrick Lamar grew up. You get to see his home. You even go to his home, and you know, if you've seen, I think it's the original Kendrick Lamar album, where he's got that minivan parked outside as the cover. Literally that shot. You get to see that. He takes you to Compton, and he takes you to places where like Dr. Dre grew up, and all of these people. That's really, really cool. He takes you to the house where they shot the movie Friday. As a big movie guy, that's a big deal for me. Why are we going down? Who's unsubscribing? As a big movie guy, that's like a big deal for me. But he takes you to see that too, and that's cool. Yeah, so he like takes you around. Anyway, so that's super, super cool. And I can't wait to I thought I was going to get to do it again today. And I had it booked on my TripAdvisor today, and I eventually ended up having to cancel it because we wanted to do this live count, right? So here we are. We wanted to do this live count. That notwithstanding, I did want to say to you guys that it's just been such an amazing experience. So a few days ago, where we are now, Tuesday, last week, I spoke at an entrepreneurs conference in Atlanta. And if I tell you, it was amazing, just the most amazing experience. We had at the specific entrepreneurs conference, I was speaking at this. It's what they call a mastermind, but it's like a community of entrepreneurs from across the U.S. Who meet to talk about how to build your businesses and how to scale your business. And I was the closing keynote. And it was just so unbelievable to talk to and hear from experiences that other entrepreneurs are having. Stuff that they're doing, stuff that they're building, where they are seeing success, but also where they're seeing challenges. Like you really get to see a lot of what works for people and what doesn't work for people. I'm going to change my vantage here just so I can get a bit of a view into the outside. But you get to see a lot of like what works for people and also what doesn't work for people. And I was sharing with them that it's so important when you are building and scaling your business to think about how do you identify and for the entrepreneurs in this room, you will know what I'm about to say is true. There is a particular way that we entrepreneurs think, how we think of ourselves and how we think of our businesses and how we do business. And one of the things that I was saying to them was, it's so important for you to self-identify. And so if you're wondering, like, what does self-identify even mean? Just a simple thing, like, what do you call yourself? And I was saying, people who call themselves business owners act differently to people who call themselves founders, who act differently to people who call themselves self-employed. Now, those are different things. And you guys know in the work that we do in the School of Scale, we teach entrepreneurs all about the difference between being a founder, being self employed, being an entrepreneur, um, just being a professional doing the work, and then being a business owner. These are different things, right? They're like tiered. But all of that notwithstanding, in my estimation, and I was saying to them, is that the work that we've been doing has taught us that it actually just starts with how you think about yourself and how you think about what you do and how you think about how you position yourself and how you think about how you want to show up in the world and the kind of work that you want to do in the world and how you want the world to experience you based on the work that it is that you do. In fact, I'll show you guys very quickly because I think you'll benefit from this. I don't ordinarily show proprietary stuff, but I think that you guys will benefit from this. So this is what I was sharing with them. I was sharing with them that there are kind of 5 levels of business maturity. The first level is where you are the professional. The professional is you doing the work. You're the plumber, the teacher, you're the baker, the butcher, the candlestick maker. You are the actual person doing the work. You might be able to get up to 10 strangers to become clients of yours at a point in time, and then you do the work. And what happens is immediately after that, you become something that we call a self-employed. A self-employed person is now the person who still runs the business, is operational. You are the magic in the business, but you typically hire 1 or 2 people to start helping you. So if you're an apprentice, you've got an apprentice assistant, right? Rather, if you are a plumber, an electrician, you've got an apprentice assistant. If you are a teacher, you've got a teacher's assistant or something like this. But it's typically you and 1 more person. And I was talking about my experience because I went through these experiences. I started out as a professional, then I was self-employed. It was just me and an assistant, then 1 or 2 more people. And here what you begin to do is you begin to start building a code for your business, because what actually happens is your business starts to grow, but it's growing only because you're working harder. And the level above that is where you become a business owner. Here, you start to take the code and start thinking more about how can I scale my code? And so it's really a lot about automation. If you hear code, I like the word code. Some people talk about business processes. Other people talk about standardization, et cetera, but it's basically the idea that there is a DNA, a set of things that need to work together for your business to operate and function optimally. And you codify those things, you write them down, whether you put them in a standard operating procedures documents, or as we call them, a standard automation procedures document, whatever you put them in, you start to have this thing that runs the business. And most importantly, as a business owner, you now have this like flat layer of people who report directly to you. So you are still operationally involved, but you now have more than 1 access point to your business, more than 1 store, more than 1 franchise operation, more than 1 branch, more than 1 online portal, or if you've got a massive online portal, more than 1 product that you're selling, or more than 1 service that you're selling. Here you become a business owner. And then a level above that is where you become the entrepreneur. Here, you've now developed a strong, robust set of business processes. You've got a very clear strategy and short-term performance automation alignment. And a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck at either stage 3 or stage 4, and I'll tell you why. The reason they get stuck there is simply because at stage 3 and stage 4, what actually begins to happen is you are running your business so well that your business is making money. And so you go, well, if my business is making money, why do I need to go through all of this trouble of like scaling my business? It's also what I call, to the entrepreneurs that I mentor, I call it the lifestyle trap. The lifestyle trap is where the business is now giving you a sufficiently good lifestyle that you don't have enough incentive to scale it. You're just like, I've got the business, it's running. I've got, I don't know, X amount of cash in the bank. I can carry my working capital for the next, 3 months to 6 months. Which, for those of you watching, you're a real entrepreneur, working capital 3 to 6 months. That is a fantastic position to be in. A fantastic position to be in. And so as an entrepreneur, you start saying things like, but why would I want to scale beyond this? Why would I want to get beyond this? And it's a bit, you can just see hands go up. Because again, at this level, the business can afford you. It can afford to pay for your lifestyle. It can afford to pay for your house. It pays for the car that you want. It affords you the things that you want. And so you're like, I like the business at this level, and I'm going to stay at this level. And most entrepreneurs get stuck at this level. Now, the reason I call it getting stuck at this level, quite simply, is this. It is because when you get to that level, even though the business is an instrument of value, you can't exit it. because you are still the magic in the business. And that is the trick. The trick is that you're still the magic in the business. You can't go anywhere. But the final layer is the level that I want to share with you guys, because this is what I was sharing with them. Let me just very quickly go to share here and put on my slide deck. Check this out. So this is what I was sharing with them. And I said, so you get to all of these levels, and the level 5 is the founder. And in our next book, which is now print ready for publish, is we talk a lot about this founder's mindset, right? And the mindset of the founder is the person who builds a professional organization. It's an intelligent business, and it can operate without them. And those are 3 different parameters. First, professional, which means it can operate at a particular standard level, independent of the founder. Second, intelligent, which means it's a learning organism. So as the market changes, as competitors change, as consumers change, the business will be able to make those changes, adapt, typically because of the management team. And the third is operate without them. In other words, that the business is now reached a point of maturity where it can continue to operate, whether or not the founder shows up to work on a Monday, say. You will be fascinated how few entrepreneurs are living great lives, do really, really well, but they never reach that stage of the founder. And it's a hard thing. I get it. Like, I completely get it. I completely get it. So one of the entrepreneurs that I mentor is a young guy he now lives here in California, and he runs a retail outlet, and his retail outlet is like doing well. Like, he's in the mall in Beverly Hills, and he's a young African guy. Listen to this, young African guy operates from the mall in Beverly Hills, and he's like 3 stores away from Louis Vuitton and Gucci and the rest of them. He's built a substantial business, a good potential business is how I would phrase it. And for him, the challenge is, how does he become a founder? How does he get the business to operate at a stage where it can function without him? And it's a simple question, but it's a hard question to answer. Now, most entrepreneurs, when they first hear me say this, they're like, but why would I want my business to operate without me? And the answer is actually very simple, is if it isn't operating without you, then as much wealth as it's creating, it isn't yet an instrument of value. So it can create an awful lot of wealth for you, and you can do really, really well. And you can probably buy assets that you can leave for your next, next of kin or your next generation. But it isn't yet an instrument of value, because when you're not there, it's not there. And so, you guys know, recently I was in India on tour, and I spoke at the India Business School, which was just such an amazing experience. And I shared this actually on a podcast recently. It was like such an amazing experience. But one of the things that really struck me about India was how many business people in India operate like founders. Like, that's how they think. So by the time we find a company like Bajaj, South Africans, you guys like joking about Bajaj, right? We joke about Bajaj in South Africa, but that's like a big business. Like, it's not a joke. Like, it's a substantial business. So by the time we find a product like Bajaj, or a family like Tata or the Ambani family, with their Reliance franchise and several other franchises, by the time you get to that stage, you are competing against a serious machine. First. Second, it's a multi-generational machine. The founder that you're dealing with, or the company that you're interacting with, is not being run by the founder that started that company. And that is so hard for so many entrepreneurs to get right. Like, it's so hard for so many entrepreneurs to actually click. Like, oh, so the idea of first generation is to be the founder for the next generation. It's such a difficult mindset shift to make, because a lot of us just aren't wired that way. Like, a lot of us are not wired to be like, I'm going to be the person, and this business is going to run, and the business is going to do what the business needs to do. And I'm going to, leave the business to do what the business needs to do. It's very hard for a lot of us to be the kinds of people that allow for our businesses to do this type of stuff. And so the work that we do is really about working with entrepreneurs and helping them scale their businesses, taking their business from one level to the next level, and getting their business to the point where it can operate and function without you. And I suppose the question for a lot of us is, can your business operate and function without you, right? Like, is that even a thing? Have you considered or thought about whether or not this business can actually execute and operate independent of you? Are you in a position where your business can do that? And you'd be very surprised how few founders have thought about their business operating at that level, and how few founders have enabled their business to operate at that level. You'd be very, very surprised. So I suppose the question for all of us, right, is, are you thinking about your business at that level? Are you enabling your business to operate at that level? And are you building systems into your business so that it can operate at that level? Now, I recognize that for some of us, this is a fairly like dry conversation, right? But the reality, especially for those of us who are entrepreneurs, who are starting out in business, a small business owner, is and this has just been my experience, so forgive me, but my experience has been that if I don't build my business to have systems, processes, it's around systems, processes, talent, strategy, and then value chain. If I don't build my business to have each of these five independent of me, then I don't build an instrument of value or freedom. I build a prison for myself. And for those of you here who run businesses, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? Hands up if you run a business and it can't operate without you. You know exactly what I mean. Like, the business needs you there. You have to be in the business. You have to run the business. You have to manage the business. You have to make the calls. You have to pay the suppliers, right? You have to do all of that stuff. And you'd be very, very surprised how many entrepreneurs don't get that this is an important shift for you to make. And so all I would say, man, is just ask yourself the question, are you building these things into your business? Are you enabling your business to function at this level? Because everybody thinks they are, and everybody's like, yes, I'm doing it, until the time actually comes. And when the time comes, it's a very difficult thing, right? Because now you've got to make the switch. You've now got to put yourself in the place, the space, the position where you are enabling or allowing the business to run independent of you. And that's a toughie. It's a toughie. It's a toughie. It's a toughie. And I thought maybe what I can do, since this is a nice impromptu session for us, a nice high value impromptu session, let me show you guys an example of what we enabled one of our clients to do. So let me see if I can open it here. You guys are really going to like this. Check this out. So this is, I was actually sharing this in conference. This is a sample client data. The accountants in the room will recognize what I'm about to share. So in the school of, in our platform, the School of Scale, one of the things we do is we take our client financial information. When we do strategy setting, we look at the strategy for the client for the period of time, right? So it's like, what are the things that you want to do, and how long, over what period of time do you want to do those things? And one of the things that we measure for in their businesses is we measure for, how do I explain this? We measure for their financial performance over periods of time. Right. So this is actually really, really cool stuff. I like it. Certainly I like when we do this kind of stuff, because it's how my brain thinks. It's how my brain is wired. It's how my brain thinks about the world and how my brain sees the world. And so when I get to work with entrepreneurs and this is how they're interacting with our business, or they're interacting with the stuff that we do, I think it's really, really cool. Okay, I'll show you guys again. Check this out. So this is actual client data. And what we did with this client is we worked with them. We've been working with them now for 4 years. And between year 2 and year 3, you begin to see their results here. So check this out. They joined us in 2021. Their financial year end is June. And between 2021, 2022, and 2023, their revenue went from 9 million, by the way, this is US dollars, to 15 million US dollars, to $42 million US dollars. The accountants in the room, of course, will notice one of the massive things that changes is their gross margin percentage and their net profit after tax as a function of their depreciation. So massive depreciation charge here between year 2 and year 3. And the question you begin to ask yourself is, how did we do that? Like, what was the thing that we did to enable them to actually scale their business and to grow their business to that level? And that's the science, right? The science is that they joined the program. And so a lot of the things you begin to see year 2 and year 3 were actually initiatives we put in place year 1. Because we had to look at their strategy, we had to look at their product set, we had to look at their markets they were operating in, we looked at the talent pool, we looked at their pricing. It's like a whole host of stuff that we did, the coaching sessions, etc. And then we're able to say, if you want to scale your business, these are the things you've got to do. And so we readied their working capital cycle, in fact, in particular, the cash flows in year 2, so that they could afford to acquire certain assets in year 2, beginning of year 3, and had an aggressive depreciation schedule for some of those assets. And so we maximized their tax burden, but at the same time allowed them this unbelievable growth. Guys, in 3 years, going from 9 to 42 million is no joke. That's 9, 18, 27, 36. That's a 4x growth in 3 years. That is no joke. That's like proper numbers of growth. And we were able to take them in this process and enable them to actually do the stuff that they needed to do and achieve the results they wanted to achieve. One of my favorite things to do with entrepreneurs when they first join is we have this conversation about, like, what's the value of your business? I'm always fascinated by how few entrepreneurs understand this. Like, if for any of you here running a business, if I said to you, what's the value of your business? What would you say? Do you actually know, right? And so we do this like exercise with them where we take the current business that they're at and we apply a series of valuation models. So it might be profit multiple, it might be EBITDA multiple. And then we say, what is your business worth today? And what do you want your business to be worth in future? And so now all of a sudden, when the entrepreneur is running the business, they can actually target their efforts, their attention, and all of their resources at what is my business value. So I'm not just chasing top line revenue or bottom line profit. I'm chasing valuation, because I know as a multi-generational leader, as a founder, I want my business to get to a certain stage. So there are a series of things I have to do to get there, right? And it's always such a crystallization conversation. So my team, for instance, will benchmark the industry that the entrepreneur is operating in. This specific entrepreneur, the industry they were operating in, has an average of 4x multiple. In fact, it's like a 5x multiple of weighted average EBITDA to the company value, and so because the multiple comes predominantly from listed stocks, we were like, well, what happens if you get a 3x, 4x, then 5x, right? And so this is the current value of your business. And so if you were to sell your business today, this is what you would get. But what do you want the value of your business to be? And it's always a fascinating piece of work when we do that work with them. Always a fascinating piece of work when we do that work with them. Because now all of a sudden they get to see it. They're like, oh, so you're telling me that my company is worth X. We're like, yeah, your company is worth X. And if you want your company to be worth Y, then there are certain things that you've got to do to get your company to be worth Y. As I say, like, this conversation is not for everybody, but it's for those of us who are entrepreneurs, business owners, and builders. You know exactly how valuable this conversation is. Because once you've got a target, once you've got something that you're aiming at, you just fire and you hit. And it's I have found for me that crystallization exercises have really helped me. So for instance, we're sitting here because we're waiting for our YouTube channel, God please, to hit 1 million subscribers. But I could share with you guys the stats and the data of what we've been able to do with our YouTube channel, and it's been crazy. I remember when we first started on the strategy to internationalize the brand. I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now, we were very, very, very specific about how much market share we wanted international, which markets we wanted to go into, how much work we wanted to get from those markets, et cetera, et cetera. And then we just started, and we started going down the tunnel and started actually doing that work. And it has been such an unbelievable experience watching that come to fruition. But to be clear, it's come to fruition because we, the team, have been very what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional about, like, hey, this is the thing we actually want to hit. These are the markets we want to grow in. This is the product we want to sell. These are the things we need to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now when everybody in the firm does the work, they know what it is they're aiming for. And even for those of us in this room who are just like, I'm just a content creator, I'm just a simple person, I get it. But if I can give you any piece of wisdom, is where there is a lack of vision and clarity, nothing gets done. And it doesn't matter if you are a student watching this conversation, if you are a parent watching this conversation, if you are a professional watching this conversation, if you are a director of a listed company watching this conversation, or I don't know, an athlete watching this conversation, or even, an entrepreneur like myself watching this conversation, where there is a lack of vision and no clarity, things don't get done. And so sometimes the best gift that you can give yourself is just the gift of clarity. It's just the gift of like, these are the things that I'm willing to do, and here's where I want to go, and here's how I'm going to get there. And this is the place I'm going to go down. I see a question here from Stella who says, how can I buy shares without being stolen? I mean, your shares can't be stolen. Stella is asking, how do I buy shares safely? So the first thing I would say, Stella, is if you have a banker, talk to your banker and see if they can recommend a trading platform for you to trade through. But for sure, you should be talking to a financial planner, because they are usually the best at helping you understand what are the things that you need to do. There are some people who go into live trading platforms and open trading accounts and trade for themselves. I've tried that in the past. It's never really been my thing. And so even those platforms where I do that, I'll take a position and I'll leave that position to hold like forever. Because I struggle with like the everyday going in and monitoring what's moving, what's not moving, what's on the news, what's on Bloomberg, what's on Yahoo Finance, what's come through the terminal, then going changing my position or taking a short or a long on this. I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's like I struggle with that. Simply Business says, someone of us said, I just saw you live now. As timely as I have burnout and need mental boost. Thank you. Yeah, listen, I get it. As somebody who suffered burnout before, I get it. I'm quite guilty now, and it's guilt I'm happy to carry of shutting down. Like when I shut down, and I shut down without making any excuses. Even now in December, like I completely disconnected, just gone. And if somebody needed to get a hold of me, if somebody was trying to get a hold of me, Vusi Tembewayo was not there. And whatever issue it is, whatever problem we're solving, we can solve for it next year, guys. We are 10 subscribers away. We're 10 subscribers away from hitting our million. 10 subscribers away from hitting our million. That's so exciting. So, like, if somebody was just trying to get a hold of me, if I'm not available, I am not available. And that's that. And life goes on, and no beef. Because as I say, I've learned the hard way that you've got to manage yourself. You've got to manage your time. And somebody said to me, in fact, it was Mike, who's one of my best friends. Mike said to me, he said, I'm showing you guys my cross here. Mike said to me that every job you have in the world, you can be replaced from that job. You can be replaced from being the deacon in the church. You can be replaced from being a pastor in the church. You can be replaced from being the baseball coach, the soccer coach, the soccer mom. You can be replaced from being the grade mom, the grade dad in the school grade for your kids. You can be replaced from the job you do every day that actually pays for your bills. The only job in the world you can't be replaced from is the job you perform with your family, and in particular, the job you perform with your kids. Oh my goodness. Yeah! There we are. 1 million. We've just hit it. Isn't God good? Thank you, Father, for this. Thank you, Father, for this abundant grace and for this season. Thank you, Father. Thank you. Wow. So, as I was saying, you can be replaced from every single job. The only job you cannot be replaced from is the job of being a parent. And for me, that's my numero uno gig. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you are inviting me for something and it clashes with an important thing that I committed to my kids, Vusi Tembewayo ain't coming. And I don't know what to tell you. I'm just not going to be there. And over the years, I've learned that really has just cemented me and given me grace and given me the fortitude that I've needed to push forward in terms of the things that I'm doing. So I'm just like so chuffed and so excited that God has so fit to bless me with the things that He's blessed me with. But if there is one thing that I know for sure, it's our mark. Isn't God good? God is so good. So thank you guys so much for joining in on this live. Somebody says you should do the lives more often. I probably should do the lives more often, right? Like, that's so cool. I probably should do the lives more often. If you'd like me to do these lives more often, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll make sure that the team gets to schedule the lives into some of the stuff that we're doing. As I say, I find the work fascinating. I find the clients fascinating. I find the places we get to travel fascinating, and the content fascinating, and all of it fascinating. But for sure, the most important thing I've learned is that the things that matter the most are the things that can't be measured. And you know what can't be measured is the time you spend with family and friends. That cannot be measured, because that's the time that actually matters. I just want to share something with you guys, which is so wild to me. And I was sharing with my team, I'm like, we've got to find a way around this, because I think this is anomalous. Check this out. On our YouTube channel, 74% of the people that watch my content haven't subscribed yet. Isn't that the craziest thing? Isn't it the craziest thing? Like, I think other people are sitting on like, and our largest market is now United States, second is India. UK actually is about to be bigger than South Africa, and Nigeria is also fast growing. But I'm always like, what do you mean 75% of the people unsubscribe to our stuff? And I think it's because I actually, for all of the teaching of people of how to do stuff, I really don't like selling. Like, I don't like saying, if you subscribe today, you will get. I was like, look, man, we publish the content. If you find value, subscribe. If not, it's all good. You know, like, life goes on. But I probably should do more often. Let's just go through a few comments before I jump off. This is Thomas. I'm enjoying the show from Burkina Faso. Shalom. Shalom, shalom, Thomas. Shalom, shalom. Beautiful part of the world. We all love Burkina Faso, of course. We all love Burkina Faso. So thank you, Thomas, for jumping onto the group. Deronso says, in network marketing, you grow your channel through your network, you multiply yourself. That's also true. That's also true. This is a good one, though. I'm seriously having network issues. Please try a replacer. No, come on, Favor, come on. This will be here. You can try and watch it later. You can try and watch it later and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Emmanuel says, watching from Nigeria. Niger no de Karilas. Hey, thank you, Emmanuel, for jumping on. We really, really appreciate you. Have you seen what the Chinese? This is a good one. Have you seen what the Chinese did with AI? How overvalued NVIDIA is, basically crashed a lot of market. I saw, what did they say, like $400 billion or something like this? I think that might be the number. I might be wrong. That NVIDIA is down since the DeepSeek thing. I actually posted it on Twitter, and the tweet kind of went viral. I think it's on 2,500 retweets or something like this, where I was like, give it 6 months, and suddenly you're going to hear all of these terrible things about DeepSeek from mainstream media. And a few people were like, it won't even take 6 months, sir. Give it a few days. Give it a few days. And like sands through the hourglass, it's already starting to happen. It's already starting to happen. Nde says, watching from Dubai. Shukran, Nde. Welcome to the community. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be in Dubai, I want to say, in 2 weeks. Or is it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Because when I leave, I've got Texas, then Maryland, and then Nairobi. Can't wait for Nairobi. Freddie, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Nairobi at Youth Plus, and then Saudi Arabia. And in between this, I think we've got Dubai coming up. So it's going to be an amazing time. I do want to say very quickly before I love and leave you guys that everything I've had the incredible privilege to do, it's only been but by the grace of my Lord and Savior. And that any of you out there who have not yet found a relationship with God, know that if you don't believe in God, God still believes in you. And no matter what you're going through, that he's there with you, even though you don't feel it. For those of us out there who are doing well, remember that we are only gifted this season. And ours is to be faithful regardless of the season that we're going through. I've got a few meetings now that I'm going to be going out to. I'm going to drive out to Beverly Hills. Every time I think about Beverly Hills, I hear din, 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 din. You can probably tell my generation, right? Just by like my references, like I was telling you guys about wanting to go on this hood tour, because I actually just really again wanted to see what's the place. I wanted to see what do you call it now? where they did Friday, the movie Friday. Smoke it, smoke. I actually wanted to see that. I wanted to see that, but it doesn't look like I'll get a chance. Anyway, all of that notwithstanding, we'll see. Perhaps one of these good days, it'll happen again. We're now well over the million mark, family. We're at 1,033,000 subscribers. Just unbelievable, unbelievable. I'm going to, the minute I get off this call, I'm just going to thank God and pray and praise Him for everything that He's been doing for me in my life, and just knowing that it is not by power nor by might, but simply by His Spirit that I've been able to do what I've been able to do. For all of you out there, have faith and be kind to one another. And I'll see you soon. Sayonara. Cheers.